Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. So following on from last week's live, which was all about Valentine's Day, I'm going to be continuing sort of the February theme of love. I've made up that theme myself, about sort of relationships, sex, contraceptive. So tonight I am going to be talking about contraceptive. Whether there is a zero waste method, nope, is the answer, essentially, and what I've used over the years. And I'll just get started in a little bit. I'll wait for some people to come online because it's earlier than I normally do these ones. Today I went and viewed an allotment nearby. So since moving from Birmingham to Bristol, I haven't had an allotment I haven't had any space for an allotment, and I've really missed it. So today I went to see one that it's about a half an hour walk, 10-minute drive away from where I'm living. And it was really different from the allotments that I already have, because the allotments that I had in Birmingham, the allotment I was in Birmingham, was all the allotments were the same size, and there was just one strip of allotments. There were about 29 allotments, whereas this one today there was like 180 or something like that. So there was loads more space, and there was a flat rate for the allotments. They were all £40 for a year, which is cheaper than the Birmingham ones, and they were like different sizes. So I'm trying to decide between like a longer one, a long thin one, a short fat one. And there were also ones that were like ridiculously big, but I don't think I'm going to take that one on because I don't know. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. And like, if I find that in a year or whatever I'm moving again, I don't want to have invested loads of time into an allotment that I'm just moving on from. So there's one of my thoughts behind that. But yeah, it was super nice to see where they were, and I always love having a sneaky look at other people's allotments and seeing what they do, getting some tips. Just generally being a bit nosy. It's good fun. Okay, so I'll get started. I've not really talked about contraceptive before on the blog, on the website at all. And I realised that it is such an important topic to talk about, because it is one that I believe needs to be discussed, but it doesn't really have an ideal zero waste option. And as somebody who is looking to lower their waste, it's not something that you should say, oh, I need to lower my waste in that area of my life. And the reason why is because if you step back and think about how much waste a contraceptive that works for you is saving later down the line, it is worth it, basically. So obviously, if you are not using contraception or not practicing safe sex, I should probably say, and then you get an STI, then you need to have an STI test and go on medication in order to clear that STI up. That could ultimately, well, it will lead to more waste than just being on that contraceptive, because obviously it's spreading an STI to other people, and it generates waste in order to diagnose and to treat. And then if you are to end up with a pregnancy, whether you decide to go through with the pregnancy or not, there will still be waste created around that. And if you end up with a child, then obviously kids are wasteful, man. And I'm not here to say that you shouldn't go ahead and have children. Like, that is not the topic of today's live at all. But what I will be discussing is how I don't think that it is correct to say that there is one contraceptive that's better than the other. That's not what I'm covering tonight. I'm fully saying pick the method that works for you. So I'm going to discuss what I've used over the years, but I'd also encourage you to go away and have some proper research into it, to chat to medical professionals about whatever you decide. You know, maybe after today's live you actually want to look into something else based on what you're already using. That's totally fine. But you know, get advice before you do anything. Don't just take what I'm saying as the holy grail, because it's totally not. But yeah, overall, I guess the idea I'm trying to get at is that picking a contraceptive that works for you and for your lifestyle will, over time, reduce waste. So it is by all means the best thing to use, and it should be used, even if every time it's used it produces waste, like maybe the pill or maybe condoms. I fully believe that is okay in this context. So I told you last week that I had a short stint of online dating, and I just want to share a delightful story, a comment that a guy said to me when I was telling him about living zero waste and about my lifestyle, because it ties in with today's theme of the live. So I said I was explaining to him about how, like, I try my hardest not to use single-use items, and I take along reusable items like lunchboxes, coffee cups, talking very, not sexual at all is basically what I'm getting at. And he said, oh, okay, great, well, I can go bareback then, because condoms are single use. And I was like, is that what people say to other people that they're trying to date? Is that how this works? So that, along with many other reasons, was why I decided to delete the dating apps for now, because I am not emotionally resilient enough for them at this present moment in time. Anyway, I should have gone harder on that guy and said, zero waste living isn't all about being unsafe and all of that sort of stuff. But hey, I didn't want to fight that battle. I didn't think it was worth it. So I'm going to now talk about the different methods that I have used. So I started taking the pill, the combined pill, when I was 14, and I took it for the fact that I had really bad period pains. By going on this pill meant that I was able to manage them much better. It reduced the pain, and it meant that I knew when I would get a period. So this was way before I knew about zero waste living. It was way before I was considering low waste options at all. I didn't really have any sort of environmental considerations about anything that I was doing. So I was using single-use period products as well. And what I would say is, like, looking back on it now, although I've changed those parts of my lifestyle, that was what was right for me at that time of my life. And that might well be the same with you guys. Like, it might just be that that is an area of your lifestyle that you're not looking to reduce your waste in, and that's fine. So I was on the combined pill for a number of years. Then my blood pressure went up, so I got moved to, I'm thinking I'm saying this right, the pro-estrogen one only, where it's like one and not the other. I think they call it the mini pill. So I went on the mini pill, and then I was on that one for a long time. I have a feeling I actually stopped using it when I was around 21, that kind of age. And I decided that I would try the coil, so UDI. And the reason why I opted for that at this point in my life was to do with environmental benefits. So I think I'd either just started going zero waste, or I'd sort of understood about the concept of zero waste living enough to start making conscious choices to lower my waste. And because taking the pill was something that every day I would look at and think, oh, this pill packet is going to be waste in a month's time, it was something that was quite easy for me to focus on. in terms of me thinking, what's the alternative to this? So I was searching online for lower waste alternatives, and came across the coil. Like, I'd sort of heard of it before, but hadn't really considered whether it be something that I would want to use. And I had heard horror stories about it, so I'd heard about it being really painful. And I'm the kind of person that when I hear these horror stories, I'm always like, I want to disprove it. I want to see whether that's actually true that it really hurts, or whether it's just stories. Anyway, so what I did was I booked myself in for an appointment at a sexual health clinic. And you go to at least 2 appointments. So the first appointment is more of like an assessment, and it's to chat through about the contraceptive that you're thinking of going on. And they give you some leaflets and they answer any questions you might have. And then the second time is when I got it fitted. So there are 2 different coils, and I went for the Marina coil. So like I said, I'm coming up to my 5th year of having it now, and it lasts for 10 years. They recommend removing them at 5 years, so that will be like the end of this year that we're in now. I'll be booking myself in for another appointment. And like I said, I opted for it because of it being lower waste. So when I went along to have it fitted, the waste that was associated with it was that it was in like a box, and the coil itself, and then it had what are they called, to open it up, to open you up, to open the vagina up. I'm going to use proper words, not shy away from talking about what we're really talking about here. Is it called a stirrup? Forcep? One of those, yeah. Forcep, is that the word? I think it is. Like, so that was a single-use item, and it was plastic. And I'm sure back in the day, those didn't used to be plastic; they'd be metal, and they'd be sterilised or whatever. So that was. I remember at the time thinking, "Oh, it's irritating that it's like a single-use item," but like I said, the overall net amount of waste that it would have saved, it was worth it, in my opinion. So I got it fitted within sort of 10 minutes, I think. I got up to leave, and then I felt really dizzy, so I was made to sit back down, have a drink of water, and then I was good to go. In terms of the pain, I only had a bit of pain in the evening and maybe a couple of days after, but it was nothing worse than a normal period pain at all. And it was nothing like those period pains that I'd had when I was younger. So overall, it actually, like, you know, it's not something that I would say is a reason not to get it, because the pain wasn't that bad at all. And yeah, I think you do actually go in for another checkup. So it's 3 visits that you have. So you have another checkup just to see that you're getting on okay with it and that it's fitted properly. And after that, you don't need to go back until you have had it in for the 5 years, the 10 years. So my experience of it has been wonderful because, like I said, I was looking for an alternative, which meant that I wasn't throwing away something regularly. And I also like the fact that I don't really have to think about it. So it's fitted and nothing else that I need to consider. I also like the fact that, for me, it makes my periods much lighter / non-existent. So that works well because I actually really like the fact that I don't really have a period. But obviously, if that's something that does matter more to you, you might want to look at other alternatives. So yeah, those are the 2 main ones that I've used, and then I've also condoms as well. In terms of a zero waste version, there's not a zero waste version. So there are better versions than others. So there are some new brands of condoms which are biodegradable. So not like the outer package, but the condoms themselves are biodegradable. So you could compost them. Not that I've checked, but I have seen on their website that they say about that. And although, like with the pill, it's something that produces waste each time, it's the same thing that I've been saying throughout all of this, is that overall the amount of waste produced is much, much less. So therefore, go for whatever you feel comfortable with. Some things that are said on like zero waste forums about methods which are completely zero waste are like the pulling out methods and just timing when you have sex so you're not ovulating. Yeah, I'm not really going to advocate them. I mean, you do you, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But I would say that if your sole reasoning for doing those is to produce no waste, I'd say like it's totally okay to use any method that works for you, for your partner, mostly just for you, because the waste saved overall just doesn't compare. So if you have any more questions about this topic, you want any more details, I'm more than happy to answer them. I understand that this topic is a little bit taboo in some areas, so if you'd prefer not to comment on this live video but you'd rather have a conversation in private, then you can just direct message me on this Facebook account or Instagram, or you can drop me an email, azerowastelife@gmail.com, and I'm more than happy to support you. But like I said, the best place to get the advice is your doctor's surgery, or you can have a look online and take your research from there. But yeah, there's not a perfect zero waste solution that I believe is completely safe and creates no waste. So ultimately, go for whatever works for you and whatever feels right for you and your body, and gives you the freedom that you need. So like I was saying, how I knew I wanted something where I wasn't having to think about it every single day, and the benefits of having the coiler that I have lighter periods, that works for me, that works for my lifestyle. That might not be something that you want to do, and that's totally okay. And I just say, do what feels right for you, but make sure that you are using something. Thanks for joining me. I will have a video for you next week as well. I hope you have a really lovely weekend, and the weather's starting to clear up. I'm just looking behind because there's a window there. The weather's starting to clear up, so hopefully we can all have some fun this weekend, get out, rather than last weekend where it was a bit wet and windy and horrible. But I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.